Welcome to the Author's Porch, where every good conversation happens. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride from author to author. We want to give you an experience where you learn and enjoy the conversation. Authors tell you about their journey, you learn about new books, and at the end of the day, you go home with a smile on your face because the Author's Porch is a beacon of light, bringing you home to the family you never knew you had. We hope that you enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Author's Porch, where every great conversation happens. And it happens because we trusted Brendan and Vamsi at I'm going to mess up my words already, at Master Talk to show us the power of effective communication. We also make sure we have a great cup of coffee from Third Day Coffee Seguin, a Christ-centered, veteran-owned coffee company. Today on the show, we have Ericka Kelly. How are you doing, Ericka?
I am doing fantastic, CJ. Really, really excited to be in this amazing platform.
I have been looking forward to this talk. I don't call them interviews because it's more of an organic conversation between two people sitting on a porch having a great beverage of choice. And I've been looking forward to this for quite some time when Dr. Robert Garcia introduced us via the virtual network. So guys, I want to give you a little bit excuse me, of a background story, a small one, because Ericka's going to tell us a lot more. But I want to give you guys a little bit of information about Chief Master Sergeant retired Ericka Kelly, and so much more than just Chief Kelly. Guys, Ericka Kelly is a native of Guatemala. She came here at 12 years old. She's currently residing in California. So at 12 years old, she came to the United States. And I'm getting chills. Like, I'm literally getting chills right now. But at 12 years old, she came to the United States to have a better life. She enlisted in the United States Air Force, and she reached the top rank that you can reach in the enlisted force. There's no other top rank in the enlisted force. I know because I was enlisted in the United States Air Force, and I stopped at E7. I didn't go as high as Chief Kelly, not for lack of trying, but for lack of this is where I was meant to be. She was the 17th Command Chief Master Sergeant for the Air Force Reserve and the senior enlisted advisor to the Chief of the Air Force Reserve. So the Chief. Do you guys understand that? The Chief for the Air Force Reserve. In addition to her personal business and military experience, Ericka Kelly has more than 27 years of government management and law enforcement experience. So 12 years old, comes to the United States for a better life, and she joins the Air Force and gets the highest enlisted rank, becomes the Chief of the Air Force Reserve, and has 27 years in the law enforcement field as a criminal investigator for the Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection, and the Office of Professional Responsibility. And it doesn't stop there because she's also an author and an entrepreneur and then and then sometimes I want to say, did you leave anything else for the rest of us? So Ericka, thank you so much for being here, and I salute you and commend you for the years of service to our country, to our nation, and to the 12-year-old girl who had that dream to come here and experience and show everybody else how to show up in your own life.
Oh my goodness, CJ. That's an incredible, thank you. Thank you. That's an incredible intro. And sometimes I do hear the words and I go, I want to meet that person because I see it from a different perspective. I see that journey, I see those titles, accomplishment, success, if you want to call it that, from a different perspective, which is amazing that we're here and we're talking about it.
Wow. That's so humbling because there's so many people out there that that don't understand what a life of service is about. And being a servant leader, that you're the epitome of a servant leader. Servant leaders don't look at it as huge accomplishments. They look at it as, I just did my job. That's amazing. So can you tell us, can you start from the beginning and tell us about your journey to where you were today? And if we could start from leaving Guatemala.
Oh my goodness. Of course, Guatemala has very painful moments. And sometimes when I share my story, the story starts when my mother abandoned my two brothers and I and locked us in a little shack that we lived in.
Mm,
Uh, Locked in for 7 days before my grandmother was able to rescue us. When I start the story there, sometimes I get stuck there
yeah.
because I want people to understand. I was five, my brother's 4 and 3. I want people to understand the desperation that a young child feels when they're facing death, perceived death. And when my grandmother rescued us and took us to her home, even though she was family, there was this amazing connection between her and I, but there was a disconnect between my environment. And I say that, CJ, because the disconnect was the pointing of the fingers. That's her. Don't talk to her. She, and mind you, when they found us, we were in really bad conditions.
Yeah.
So people just stayed away from us. So I share that, or I shared that information with you, CJ, because when I finally made it to the United States at the age of 12 was because we survived an earthquake big enough that my mother, the one that left us, was in California, came back to Guatemala to get the three of us.
Mm,
But the way that she did it, CJ, was by not telling her husband that she had 3 kids, by, oh my goodness, CJ, we could just sit here and just chat and
yeah.
talk. But what we ended up doing is we walked. We walked from Central America all the way to the United States. So, yes, I came to the United States when I was 12, but I came into an environment that was very toxic and
Yeah.
not welcoming.
Yeah. You weren't, it wasn't one that said, come here, I want to take care of you. It was an environment that said, well, I guess I have to deal with you.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, that well said. It
Yeah.
was it was more out of pure, not obligation that you're happy to do, but it was pure obligation of your dead weight. And
Mhm.
I want you to know that you're dead weight. I want you to know that you don't add value to this family.
Oh my goodness. So was that a moment for you to say, I'm going to do something great with my life? I'm going, or was it later in life that you decided you were going to make a difference in your own life and choose something that to serve other people?
It was much later, CJ. I wish I could tell you that I knew since I was a child. I knew there was something in me, something I just couldn't name it.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was. But going through being abandoned, earthquake, coming to the United States, facing homelessness at 16 because of that environment being so
Yeah.
toxic, um, getting into a very violent domestic violence situation, all of those things just created my life as a big blur. I was just bouncing from event to event, not really having control of anything. I truly believe that when I first went into the Air Force, and I share this all the time, CJ, the Air Force did not get a shiny penny.
Mm,
They didn't. When they picked me, when they said yes, Yes, we want you to be an airman. I
Yeah.
promise you, the Air Force did not get a shiny penny. They got a woman, young woman at 22,
Yeah.
broken in a
Mhm.
thousand pieces, trying to figure out who she was.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. I was 19 and I was running away from home. Running away from the streets that were about to consume me and my life force. I definitely understand that. And I know a lot of veterans go through that. So I understand that feeling. And everyone's story is different and some more devastating and heartbreaking than others. Um, but it, I think, for lack of better words, the military is a melting pot for all of us that feel that we need to find our tribe. Did you find your tribe in the military? Did you find your footing? Is that where you found this place that you could thrive?
CJ, the military, then during the time I served, and now is my family.
Yeah,
That was the place, first time in my whole life where I found myself being secured, feeling safety, feeling the companionship of teammates. And why serve 32 plus years? Why not?
yeah,
Why not serve 32 plus years? So yes, I will forever uh, claim my uniform
yeah,
as my own, my family as my own. As a child, I did not have family. Here in the United States, I didn't either. I truly learned the meaning of family, of what does that word mean? Because before it had a different meaning. So the definition of family is what I found in the military, and to be more specific, the branch that you and I share, which is the Air Force.
yeah. So I've seen pictures. I've seen a lot of pictures of you, and you're not, for lack of better words, a beefy woman, meaning when I think of military and law enforcement, you think of tall and very strong. I mean, I've got a lot of meat on my bones, but I'm not the law enforcement meat, if you know what I mean. But I mean, you're petite and you hold yourself very well. I'm not making any assumptions, but I look at 27 years law enforcement, 32 military, and then you see a picture of Ericka Kelly, and you would not automatically assume. There's a lot of people look at me and they're like, "You were military? What?" People automatically make their assumptions.
Yeah.
So, what was it about a law enforcement career that enticed you?
I, my goodness, let me pause. Let me think about, because navigating two and nothing against men. I mean, they're amazing leaders, and some of the best opportunities I have received in my both careers have come from men giving me a chance to showcase who I was. But being able to be my size, and being in, for the audience, I am 5'2", maybe 115. I go back and forth, 110,
It's my
115.
daughter. Yeah, my daughter is the same size. Yeah, so
I know, but I was able to de-escalate situations.
okay, yeah,
I was able to, if I was doing a little bit of undercover here or there, I was able to, if we can call the bad guys,
yeah.
to for them not to even think of me as a threat. So I was,
Unassuming.
so I was an added value to the team.
Yeah,
And but I can tell you that at the beginning, this was early 90s when I was looking at becoming a special agent, and I became a special agent. And that's your question. And the more I coach and analyze and I train and I do mind setting everything, I think I did it for self-protection, CJ.
Wow. Yeah.
I was so hurt as a child. So hurt as a child. I was so hurt as a young teenager or preteen. And as a woman, I was ripped from my dignity. I was ripped from my identity.
Mm,
That the military gave me this amazing foundation that I needed. And
mhm.
at the same time, this law enforcement body, the more I think about it, this amazing law enforcement body just showcased to me I will not be hurt again.
Wow.
I can take care of myself.
That's breathtaking. That it was such an empowering experience. I love that. You it gave you that empowerment that you were looking for.
Hmm. It did.
Wow. That I think a lot of people need to understand that even though it's a male dominated field, the military itself,
Hmm.
and your career of choice was male dominated, that you felt more empowered by it because it gave you the skills and the knowledge and the acceptance to know that no matter what you've been through, you are not going to be violated mentally, physically, or emotionally in any way, shape, or form because you've already made it. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely right. Again, some people are like, why law enforcement? And before, I would say, I don't know. But I'm telling you, the more I think about it,
Oh.
it was a self protective mechanism
Mm-hmm.
of saying, if you're law enforcement, you can take care of yourself. If you're military, you're protected. And I found two worlds where that happened,
Yes.
where I was protected and I could take care of my teammates and I could take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that we mention you've got some viewers here watching with you tonight, and looks like some people that know you personally, and some folks that watch the show regularly as well. So I just want to pop them up on screen and recognize them for their amazing support to you. And then I have some other questions about your book that you wrote with a fellow chief. So just real quick, we've got Allison Lyons Garces. It looks like.
Garces. Yeah, Allison Garces.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi,
Woohoo,
Allison.
Chief. And then we have Elizabeth Johnson. Good afternoon, ladies. She is an avid watcher of the show, a good friend of mine, and also a fellow author, a fantastic author. She also says, salute to you, Ericka Kelly. Then we have Emmy Ailman.
Yes. Oh
It
my
says,
goodness.
hi, Chief.
It's been so long.
And we have Jessica David. Hello, Erica, dropping by for a few moments to show support.
That is so amazing. Hello, Jessica.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you, you wrote a book with a fellow chief of yours, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about that book and what was the driving force behind writing that book?
The driving force for the book was the simplicity of humanity,
Okay.
the simplicity of how we started this conversation of talking about successes, talking sometimes about titles, positions, and how amazing all that is. And when Left for Fate and I were talking about just this idea just pops into our brain. It's like, hey, we can do something.
Hmm.
And we started talking about the book, CJ. We started talking about the book about the two of us sharing our stories. And then it became not enough,
Hmm.
really not enough. And what we did is we interviewed a group of chiefs, Air Force chiefs, at different levels of authority, different levels of commitment to the Air Force. So they could tell their own stories, our own stories, away from title, position, and environment, bringing that human side. Do we walk away from the uniform for a little bit,
Hmm.
right? because sometimes we see the rank and we see the position, and we forget that behind that there is a person, a journey,
Yeah.
moving forward. So it has been an amazing, amazing experience of being able to showcase the humanity among these amazing women and men that happened to either still serve in the Air Force as chiefs or retired as chiefs.
Yeah. I I often found it that people don't realize, regardless of what type of pants you put on in the morning, what position you hold, you're still a human being at the end of the day. You still have to get sleep. You still have a family. And it's very hard to look at people as a human when they get to certain points in their career. You just expect them to produce. You expect them to just take care of business, and you forget that they still have the same exact issues at home and in their heads and in their lives as you do. And a lot of times you never you don't see them as people anymore, as human beings. And that, a lot of times, and even as an entrepreneur, um, a lot of people see you as what your position is in the entrepreneurial world. And yeah, I've learned that after retirement as well. And it's different. It's really different because I'm a humanist at my core. And one of the things that I struggled with in the Air Force was being a humanist. And I was like, oh well, yeah, okay, well, we got to do this or do that. So that disconnecting factor is very difficult. So I commend you for writing that book and letting people see the human side of each individual.
Yeah, the
And
struggles, right, CJ? The sadness that sometimes life brings to us, the happiness that life brings to us, and being able to share this story of, oh, you went through that too. Yes, I did.
yeah, because they just think you have the perfect life and you sit up on a pedestal.
Yeah, true.
So 32 years in the Air Force, 27 years in law enforcement, and walking away from all that, what was that like?
Huge transition. No joke, hard,
Yeah.
CJ. Anyone that is transitioning from any environment. Yeah, I mean, we're talking military, we're talking law enforcement, but a divorce is a transition. Uh, Death of a family member, a friend, is still a transition that we go through. So hard. One of the things that I saved me, truly saved me,
Mm.
is that I knew that I was going to stay connected with the military. I just knew that. So it's not I'm walking away, and they're not my family anymore. Nope. I knew that I was going to connect with them, and stay connected with them. Another one is that I prepared for that transition.
Mm.
And 2 3 years before I retired from the Air Force specifically, I took very specific steps at investing money in myself, making sure that my mindset was where it needed to be.
Mm.
And the transition happened while I was still in uniform, and I was preparing to be a speaker. I was preparing myself to be an executive coach. I was preparing myself to be a trainer. So when that retirement came, it was amazing.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing because I already knew where I was going. Writing a book, already right here. It was just putting the pieces of the puzzle that we sometimes are trying to build. All the pieces are floating.
Hmm.
And sometimes we need to allow that puzzle, those pieces, to just fall into place and not force them to be something that they're not.
Yeah. Almost every veteran I talk to, including myself, struggle with that transition. I thought I had everything together. I thought I had it all figured out. I had a job lined up. I left the Air Force Base after 20 years on Thursday, and I started my new job on Monday. I was ready. Then it all came crashing. I mean, it literally, and I laid in bed for a week just thinking, just take me. I don't care anymore. I'm over it. And I hear the same story over and over
Mhm.
from veterans. Heck, most of my civilian friends that never even served can't get their mindset right. So when you talk about executive coaching and stuff like that, that's what you're currently doing. You work with people. Is it a mindset coaching or is it just life coaching? What is because there's so many, and I don't want to get it wrong because there's so many different coaching sets, I guess you would say. What is the exact coaching that you do for individuals?
Well, so yes, to answer your question, that is my business now. It's called Ericka Kelly Enterprises, and my main focus is on coaching. Now, a coach, CJ, is a person. Sometimes we say executive or life or health, and we just add to the title. But if I can just share with you that a coach is an individual in someone's life that can bring, and it's going to sound kind of techie, weird, but can bring the unconscious to the conscious. Meaning that sometimes we're in auto mode. We just know something happens to us and we just go to the only file that we know and we react. A coach is able to find, through questions, through conversation, through relationship, find a way of us together, find a way of looking at options and not having just one file to react to, having options for you to accept, deny, or neglect something. But at least you are educated because now you have the awareness of making that decision and not live in a situation where every time you do something, you walk away from that and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that again. Right?
Yeah, we're such reactive humans. We
Mm-hmm.
react and we do it off of out of habits, not habitual, but just habits in general.
Yes.
Um, I think we all need some type of coach or somebody that can just talk us down off of that ledge. Somebody that understands our brains and the things that we go through. So yeah, I like the way that you put that because I'm always hearing online, coach this, coach that. And I actually had talked to a life coach. Um, she's a wonderful human being that I follow on Facebook. And I went to one of her virtual retreats and I love it. And I still follow her and go to different events. And she's great, but I never understand the different coaching things that there are out there. So I always like to ask so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not getting it wrong when I talk to a coach because I know it's their profession, and I wouldn't want someone to call me a horror writer, like a horror author, because I don't write horror books because I can't. They scare me. So
They scare me too.
I want to make sure I'm getting it right when I ask people. So if you had any advice to anybody out there that is going to basically reinvent their life because that's what you did. You said, you know what? I'm not going to, yes, I've been victimized, but I'm not going to be a victim in life. I'm going to be an overcomer. I'm going to be a survivor. I'm going to be a person who's badass and tell people this is how you show up in your life. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give them so they can get their mindset to a place to do that?
My advice is to be persistent.
Mm,
My advice is to be able to understand that your present conditions, if they are bad right now,
yeah.
that present condition does not dictate your future. The present condition just showcases what it is right now. But if you keep pushing forward, if you keep walking, if you keep believing in yourself, then you will see that you will attain the full potential or untapped potential. We all have an infinite potential.
Mm.
So let's start looking, let's start untapping that amazing potential that all of us have. And how do we do that, CJ? I know that Allison and Jessica are going to go, oh no, she's going to say it. Yes, I'm going to say it here. Proximity, proximity to good people.
Mm.
And when you are in the room with those amazing people and you're learning from them, then the other side of that coin is model that behavior. Model that behavior. So if I was to summarize um, what I just said is be persistent. Don't give up on your dream.
Mm.
Have proximity to amazing people and model the behavior that's going to give you that dream that you deserve.
Mm. Persistence, proximity, and modeling.
Mhm.
I was sitting here, I was like, write it down. I need to make sure I have that written down. So, what upcoming projects do you have?
Well, I have a couple of masterminds coming up. I'm in the middle of two of them. So I'll
Mm,
plan a couple of masterminds starting in March.
okay.
I am going to do some book signing events starting in DC. Some because of COVID, some of the events have canceled. But I am one of the big events that I am going to be at is the Air Force Sergeants Association. I believe it's in August or September, not confirmed yet. But Lefford Fate and I will be there to present at the event, and also to be available for people in case they need us and they want to share their stories with us.
Very cool. And where can people reach you if they want to get a hold of you for any reason?
Well, my website is the easiest, ericakelly.enterprises.com. That's it.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I've went ahead and put all of your links here in the comment section as well. But for the podcast, we always like to make sure that it's voiced out there since people can't click on anything when they're listening to the podcast. Because after the show, I take everything to the podcast format tomorrow. So this is the point where we turn it over and we make it the area Ericka. There goes my words again. The Ericka Kelly Show. So I'm going to take myself off screen, and anything that we haven't covered or you want to share with your audience, I'm going to give it to you, and it's going to be the Ericka Kelly Show for 2 to 3 minutes. Anything that you want to say that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet before we head out for the night, I'm going to hand it over to you, and the Pink Lady's going to be back in the green room. So it's your turn, Ericka. I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, CJ. I do want to share one more thing, and that is forgiveness. Earlier, I shared how a woman, my mother, left three children behind, and not just behind, but locked into a room, not knowing if they were going to live or die. And I spent many, many years, everyone, very angry at that woman until I learned to see it from a different perspective. I'm telling you the side of my story. But forgiveness to me came when I was able to see the story from her side. And the way the story looks like from her side is that she was 15 years old when she was married to my father, who was 16 himself. By the time my mom has had 18 or was 18 years old, she had the three of us. When she left, she was 20. Everyone, she was a 20-year-old woman. Already by herself, my father had left her. And when she locked the door, she did it to create distance, not thinking that it was going to take 7 days for people to find us. My mother lives with us now. She's paralyzed after a stroke. And it's a gift. And if I can say this, I'm faith bound. If I can say that it's a blessing for me to be able to showcase to my mother what forgiveness looks like, for me to really give her a hug and tell her that I love her. It's an incredible gift that life has given me. Outside of being an author, outside of being a coach, outside of military and law enforcement, the biggest gift that I have received in life is to be a mother of two amazing sons and the daughter to a woman that never, never received loved herself until now.
Wow. Ericka, that is an amazing story. The most resilient story I have heard in probably my entire life. And that is a godsend. It really is. Thank you for sharing and for letting us hear that. Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself together. So I think it's time that I end this show because I'm at a loss for words, and I'm thinking of all the mothers out there who probably went through the same thing that your mother has been through, the same thing that you have been through with reuniting and forgiving your mother, a lot of daughters and the forgiveness of their mothers. So I'm sending all my prayers and love to you, your mother, and all the mothers and daughters in the reuniting that will continue to go on in the world. So, guys, I want to thank Ericka for being here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody that is able to listen to the words of Ericka Kelly and that amazing story and the more amazing stories and stuff that Ericka will be sharing with the world, because she's not done yet, guys. She has more things that will be coming out. So don't forget to come back each week and watch us either live or on the podcast right here on Facebook. You can ask Siri or Alexa to play our latest episode. Head over to the website, catch our latest issue of the magazine, which came out January 1st, or our blog post. We want to continue making authors' dreams come true by providing them a platform to shine. We will see you guys next time. If you appreciate conversations like we do and want to become a better speaker, visit our friends Brendan and Vamsi at mastertalk.ca. They're also currently providing a free, I said it, free course. If you guys would like a link to that, make sure you message us over at the Author's Porch, where they are going to teach you how to use the power of your voice. Don't forget, stay awake with a nice cup of coffee from Third Day Coffee Seguin, the best cup of coffee on this side of heaven. That's at thirddaycoffeeseguin.com. Until next time, my friends, I'm CJ. This is Ericka. Go read her book. And Write On by Ericka. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
The Author's Porch is a certified veteran-hosted podcast. Show your support, tune in, share, and subscribe.